All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have a San Francisco, California hip hop legend right here live on the line. We got Seff the Gaffla right here live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
I'm good, Daddy. How are you, man?
Oh man, doing best I can possibly be down here in Canada, man. I just gotta say first and foremost, man, I have been a fan for a long time, man. So just thank you in advance for giving us a bit of your time here this evening.
I appreciate you as well, man. The fans, without the fans, I wouldn't do nothing, man. I appreciate y'all. That's everything I love.
But I know you're a busy guy, Seff, so I'm going to dive right into this broadcast, man. But I want to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far, man. And I have to ask, what originally got you into the music industry initially, man? Because you are honestly probably one of the best hip hop artists to come out of San Francisco, California.
Indeed. And I appreciate you for saying that. I didn't have to say it, you did. So, yeah, what had me start rapping was my cousin, Forte. Rapping Forte. That's the big homie. You know what I mean? Saw him doing it. He was a local hero where we was from. You know what I mean? So I wanted to be like him. He was winning. He wasn't a platinum artist. He wasn't hella rich, but he was doing music. You know what I mean? And it had him popping. He was popping. He was flying. Rapping Forte, man. I flew him, man. That's my big cousin. So that's how I started doing music.
And I actually, when I actually first discovered you back in the day, was actually on Rappin' Forte's "Don't Fight the Feelin'" record, where you were actually on his song on his song "Dang Season," man. Such a phenomenal joint. You guys had such phenomenal chemistry.
No doubt. And that song actually was pretty much, it was both of our thoughts collaboratively, but at the end of the day, it was kind of like the Gafflas, man. Yeah. But if you trip out what I say, even on that song, man, I couldn't wait till it got legal. But look at it now, many years later.
I gotta say, I definitely agree with that, man. It's crazy to actually look back on those times as well, how marijuana is now legal, man. You know what I mean? It almost seems like it was a long time ago since it became illegal.
Man, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, down here in Canada it became legal as well not too long ago, and it's weird how the government is just like the government. One day the government hates it, and now all of a sudden it's a huge moneymaker for them, man. So hopefully everybody that actually is on old marijuana charges can actually get out and actually get those charges wiped clean, man.
Right. I definitely agree with you, man.
And also as well, man, in the early 1990s, you were actually a part of the iconic group, the Get Low Playaz. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story behind that group, and of course, how did you actually get connected with the other members, man? Because that was a San Francisco super group in my opinion.
No doubt, no doubt. It definitely was and still is to this day. One of the best groups that ever came about that thing. But yeah, we was already family before the music. You know what I mean? Before the music, we from the hood. Me, JT, and Demo, we are from the YBG. We are from Fillmore. San Quinn is from Fillmore, but he's from Uptown. He's from like many blocks away from us, but he's a Fillmore dude. You know what I mean? But me, JT, and Demo, we all come from the same thing, and we all family and related. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's how that came about.
And also as well, man, in '95, you guys actually released the iconic album titled "Straight Out of the Lab." I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind this earlier release project, and of course, what was it like just being in the studio putting this masterpiece together?
Man, being in the studio, every time it was always epic, man, because I really do love music. Even back then, like when it was always our dream to be platinum artists, this and that, but at the end of the day, just to make music, it's a beautiful thing, man. So yeah, even back then, it was every session was big. I didn't care who it was with. It was like anybody can be totally insane, epic. San Quinn, epic. You know what I mean? Even us, whoever I was in the studio with, because we all was folks before the music. We already had connections before the music, so that just made it doper. So every studio session was like epic to me.
And I gotta say as well, man, JT the Bigga Figga actually did some phenomenal production work on Straight Out of the Lab, man. It definitely came out perfect.
Man, JT is the GOAT. And I'm telling you again, and I know everybody else already know, but he's the GOAT, man. And no matter how people look at him, and no matter how people perceive him to be, JT is the mastermind when it comes to this music, man. As an independent game, he gives you the game, and if it works for you, it's gonna work for you. You know what I mean? Just because he give you the game don't mean it's gonna work for you. You know what I mean? So yeah, JT is a big part of the culture. JT was making music when we wasn't even thinking about it. Like, we wasn't taking it serious. You know what I mean? Me and Demo and Quinn, we was rapping, we was loving it, this and that, but JT was taking it serious to the levels that we wasn't even seeing, like right now, what he's doing right now today. So yeah, I salute Fig, man. So Fig, he's the GOAT, man.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he's actually he actually moved overseas, and he actually has a phenomenal phenomenal water business by the name of Fillmore Water that actually supplies water to underprivileged families, man, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, he is actually in Africa as we speak, and he has not just building the wells and the schools and stuff like that. He's actually also getting artists out there. He's building like a whole empire in Africa. You know what I mean? That's why I say he's the GOAT. He thinks out the box. He's going to do something that we might not just want to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, and that's what he's doing right now. He's helping them. He's feeding people in these different countries and these different towns out there in Africa. But he's also dealing with all the up and coming artists out there that didn't have nobody to back them the way JT can back them.
And also, as well, in the same year that you guys actually released Straight Outta the Lab, you actually released your solo debut album titled titled Living Kinda Lavish. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this record and what made you decide to branch off into a solo career.
Oh man, Living Kinda Lavish. That's what I was at that time. You know what I mean? You know, 9 times out of 10, when a person names his art or his craft of what's going on in his life at that time or her life at that time. At that time, I was living kind of lavish, literally. You know what I mean? So I was still dabbling in the streets and hustling and things of that nature, but I was also doing my music and trying to get out of the way. So yeah, that's basically how I got Living Kind of Lavish came about.
And I gotta say, man, probably one of the best West Coast records, man. I actually still bump that record till today, man. You know, Heaven or Hell is definitely my go-to song.
Yeah, another true story. You know what I mean? Another true story song. It's like, back then, I watched Slick Rick, Too Short, E40, Q, you know, a lot of the East Coast hip-hop artists that was before us, and storytelling was the thing, you know what I mean? And as today, it's still storytelling. So if you listen to that song, you listen to Locked Up, you know what I mean? I was telling a story. I was telling those was really shit that really happened to me, man. Really sat down. Really had to go to the county. Really was up in there. You know what I mean? Really called JT when I got out. He really picked me up. You feel me? So yeah, it's not a game with me, man.
And I honestly, that's why I think I really love the 90s hip-hop, man, because you guys always told stories in your guys' music, man. Nowadays, it seems like all the music, this day and age in 2022, a lot of it just sounds the same. You don't even really know who you're listening to anymore.
You are absolutely correct. And, you know, back in the days, I love what they doing. They eating and they feeding their families and they having their business. I love them over there that's winning. Cool. All right, boom. No hate in me, but back in the days, if I sounded like you or you sounded like me, and I was first, you was biting. You know what I mean? It was no such thing as 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 rappers sounding alike. You was whack. You was, you know what I mean? They gonna talk about you. They gonna talk bad about you. But now today, it's cool. That's cool. It's a different culture. It's another part of the culture. It's another era. I respect it. But as far as the music, and if you love music, you want to hear somebody different. You want to be different. You want to have a different voice. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's why I just love to make music, man. And I know I don't sound like nobody but me.
And exactly, man. If you put on a Seff the Gaffla record, you know it's Seff the Gaffla. You know, and there's no mistaking that.
Exactly. Yes, sir. You are absolutely correct. That's why I said at the end of the day, I love what they're doing, man. I love what everybody's doing from every coast, every country, every city, every town. But that don't mean I like every person that come out, because you sound like 5 or 10 people already heard that I like. So, it's not no hate. It's just, if you love music, you want to hear it different. You want to hear something different, man.
And also as well, in the mid-1990s, you actually had the opportunity to work alongside the late, great Mac Dre on his song, What We Do. I was wondering, how did yourself and Mac Dre originally get connected? And of course, it's working alongside him in the studio.
Oh, man, me and Mac Dre, we was connected with the streets. You feel me? We was connected with the streets, and we had mutual friends that was from the streets. And he had family from Fillmore. He still has family in Fillmore. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we had a bond that was way different. That's why I don't have to say and keep saying it and keep. I know Dre, that's my big brother. I know I love him. I know he loved the Gaffla. I know when the cameras wasn't on us, we were still chilling, and you know what I mean? So, yeah, Dre was a funny dude in a good way. Not no faking. Like, Dre was the truth, man. He was hilarious. He made people right now that's popping, like literally, like, yeah, this is, you know what I mean? It's people that got to understand. The artists that you hear today, especially from the Bay, some of that Dre is in him. Because he's from the culture. He's one of the forefathers of this shit. You know what I mean? He's like a Too Short to us. He's like an E40 to us. You know what I mean? He just didn't have that major look as so or 40. Yeah, but other than that, man, on some independent, man, Dre was a superstar, man. But he was real, like good-hearted, like, man, you need some food type, man. He gonna be there, like he ain't one of them dudes that's gonna front on you. That's how me and Dre got cool. Yeah, so me and you even did that song, me, him, Julio, Ness, Queen, yeah. That was an epic song, man. I miss Dre.
And before we move off the topic of Mac Dre, because I have to ask, because obviously you were super close with this legendary individual. If you don't me asking, what was one of your most fondest memories you shared with the late, great Mac Dre? Because he was such a larger-than-life individual.
Man, to be honest, it was a time when he came and shot this video in field mode. We were just on some real street shit, like, you know what I'm talking about? I think it was the Rapper Gone Bad. We was in field mode. And we were just, when you do music and you do politicking and stuff with the music and dealing with people in music, sometimes you don't get a chance to really just sit back and just network and just be like, you know what I mean, family. Be like a cousin. Be like a brother. You know what I mean? We was doing that. You know what I mean? There was times when we was like going to do shows and we'd be in a hotel, we in that motherfucking pillow fighting and all type of shit. You know what I mean? Silly shit that kids do, shit that people do. All right, I got you. But yeah, I'm actually working as we speak. Yeah, while we doing this interview.
I gotta say, man, that right there is what you call multitasking.
Man, listen, I'm literally at work on the clock, but they respect me and they know I do music, so they're like, man, whenever you have something to do, just let us know. So I'm sitting in my car right now as we speak, man. You know what I mean? So, you gotta do what you gotta do. And that's another thing. For all the up and coming artists from around the world and this and that, you know what I mean? Do your music, but don't let your stomach growl because you love music. You know what I mean? Do your music, but do what you gotta do to feed your family. Do what you gotta do to feed yourself, to make sure your stomach don't be growling. Like me, as long as I've been doing music, I love it to death. But I'm going to work as well. You know what I mean? I'm going to work until the bag is bigger. You know, I'm not going to sit back and be an angry artist. Feel me? Yeah.
And also as well, man, in 2006, you actually inked a deal with Done Deal Entertainment, LLC. I was wondering if you can actually tell us the story behind that record deal, and of course, how did that opportunity actually arise for you in the mid 2000s?
Oh, the actual deal came about because we all family. You know what I mean? We all folks. Me, Quinn, JT, B-Mo. So when they, I think I had left first. To be totally honest, I think I left first, and Quinn ended up leaving later. But Quinn started the label. They started their label, Done Deal Entertainment and whatnot. And he reached out on some Big Bro, like, Big Bro, come on, man, let's do it. We don't have to do no paperwork, no nothing, because we folks, and we on some, at the end of the day, we on some street bonds and family bonds, and we just did what we did. You know what I mean? To make sure so we could all eat and keep popping, and we did that. You know what I mean? So I salute the Queen. Queen, that's my God, man. I just wish JT and Quinn could see eye to eye, because we all family. You know what I mean? They getting there though. They be cracking little jokes and shit nowadays. I see them.
And I gotta say as well, man, I remember right after you left the label, you actually dropped a phenomenal project titled "Don't Get Mad, Get Money," man. Where you actually had a song featuring the game, man. Such a phenomenal project.
Oh yeah, appreciate you. That was a dope album, man. I just wish that situation that happened went away. So that's what happened. I wasn't able to actually do what I had to do with that album, shoot videos and whatnot like that, because I ended up going to the federal prison. I caught a case. So that's why I was gone for a while. And I wasn't able to do that album. So when I came home, I actually re-released the album and added a couple of songs on there. And it went through DLK Enterprise, and Empire. Yeah.
And also as well, I know you're at work, so I'm just going to touch base, jump right ahead to to the end here, man. But on May 21st of 2021, you actually released your most recently released single titled "What I've Been Through." I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this most recently released single, and of course, where can we actually snag ourselves a copy of it today?
Oh, what I've been through is available right now. It's going through GT Digital, Gold Toe, shout out Gold Toe, and Empire, shout out Gazi. But it's going through Empire, and you can go get it on any platform, all digital platforms. It's available. So yeah, at the end of the day, you can go get it everywhere. I'm over trying to find its address right now. I gotta go do something. But yeah, that was a dope song. DMR Productions, a dope producer, made that for me. You know what I mean? He actually sent it to me. And was like, do whatever you're going to do with it, big bro. And that's what I did. And the song is basically another true story. Before I started rapping, the way I came up, and, coming from Fillmore, and, like I say, I like to cut a story.
And also, for the listeners that actually haven't had the opportunity to hear this song, I actually have it locked and loaded in the radio station's rotation. So you already know, Seff. I'm gonna spin the hell out of this joint.
Right. I appreciate you, man. I'm trying to get out there where y'all at, but I'm on that paper right now. I'm up that paper. I'm out there, man. We gonna stay in touch, man. I appreciate you.
Most definitely. And Seff, before we actually part ways here quickly, man, this is the time to interview quickly that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves. There's a chance, man, to drop them social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything you currently got going on.
Right. Okay. My social media is SEFF_THA_GAFFLA 924.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Seff, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening. And of course, thank you for years of monumental music, man. I've been a fan for a long time, so being able to interview you and just converse with you this evening, man, is an absolute honor, man. So thank you so much, and hopefully down the line, we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, definitely have yourself a great shift at work.
Man, hey, peace and blessings, man. I can't wait to do it again.
Hey, most definitely. We'll be in touch, man. Anytime you're ready, just hit me up and we can definitely get you back on the radio station airwaves.
No doubt. I'm going to hit you later on when I get off. I got an idea.
Sounds good, Seff. Most definitely, man. My line's open.
All right. Bye.